Do you happen to catch that interview with Andrew Yang? It says Andrew Yang on Poor People's Campaign Presidential Forum. It seemed like the crowd had a very lukewarm response to Andrew Yang, and I'm not sure why that was the case. I mean, he was he was just hammering them out, like giving very practical, solid solutions and explanations and rationales for his well thought out plans. But they didn't receive like huge, thunderous, you know, applause lines like, yes, finally, someone who actually has the answers and understands the problems. It was a very lukewarm response, maybe because he didn't use, I don't know, enough jarring, divisive rhetoric. Maybe that's why he wasn't exciting in that sense. I don't really know. But I am becoming aware more and more that it seems like, I don't know, a lot of leaders or higher profile folks in the African American community don't really think very much of Andrew Yang for whatever reason. I'm just kind of getting that sense. I mean, I know plenty of African Americans who are in support of Andrew Yang, but I'm talking about like leaders and people who have platforms and all that. Like, I don't really see that they are really behind Andrew Yang, and I don't know. It's really interesting. I don't know where it stems from. If they don't believe it, like too good to be true type of thing, or not exciting enough type of thing, or or I just don't know. I I really hope people come to see like he has the answers. He's got really good answers. So yeah, I've did you catch that interview with on the Breakfast Club? And it seemed like, I don't know. I generally like Charlemagne the God. Like he brings up some interesting points and perspectives, but he was just kind of acting like a fool around Andrew Yang. Like I was like, yo, where's your intellect? Like bring that out. Like he's he'll answer your questions, and you don't have to play games with him. And like if you want some real answers, like really engage in a real way. I don't know. There's something very off-putting about that. I think the one of his I don't watch the show enough to know everybody's names. I apologize for that. But one of the other male co-hosts, he was kind of like almost it seemed like he was getting annoyed by Charlemagne's attitude, and was trying to really have get into Andrew Yang's brain and like really see what he's all about. Um, and yeah, I think there was this other thing called the Roots or something like that, where I mean, I don't remember what the overall overarching theme of it was. It just seemed like that the guy didn't trust Andrew Yang. Like that's basically like, you make it say, like almost like this idea of like you make it sound too good to be true, and there's all this uh, historical stuff in our community that this doesn't even begin to cover it. You know, and it's like, but if you hear Andrew Yang's message, he's like, we're focused on going forward. And yes, we do have to acknowledge and recognize what's happening in the past, and part of this is part of that. However, we're not going to stay there. We're going forward because this is a problem that actually transcends race and will affect everybody. And in fact, in that manner, it's probably going to hit the African American community the hardest. So y'all should really be behind him, Andrew Yang's policies, because he's really doing this to really lift up everybody. Um, but everybody's not really, I don't know, feeling the message. I don't know if it's part of the the kind of landscape we live in behind identity politics, where we've fragmented ourselves so much, and that we don't necessarily see. Like, there's a potential for a wave to lift everybody. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure what the real resistance to him is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this crossed my mind. There have been, let's just say, not the best relations between the Asian American community and the African American community. It's been kind of contentious in in our history. So I don't know if there's things from that that's carrying through. All you need to do is go back and look at the LA riots from the 90s, and you'll see, like, yeah, there's some real tensions between the Asian American and African American community. So I don't know if there's some of that, and just his presence might even invoke some of that. I don't know. I could be way off on that, but you know, I'm just really hopeful that perhaps African American leaders will start seeing more and more the value of Andrew Yang, and put their weight behind him. Um, he's speaking to everybody, and to the point where, yeah, it's even drawing the attention uh, the, whatever you want to call them, uh, the alt right. I don't know what you want to call it. Let's just break it down by like society, like uh, poorer white white folks in rural areas. Like, he's starting to get their attention as well, and his message does point to the fact that yes, there will be a lot of unemployed truck drivers and retail workers, fast food workers, and all that sort of stuff. And many of them are white. And so he's not necessarily being so explicit, like, yeah, I'm a champion for white causes. He's not doing that, you know. Um, but but it's clear that some of uh, the community of people who are socioeconomically disadvantaged from the Caucasian communities are finding some sense of solace with him. And I wonder if that is a point of contention for people of color, particularly African Americans. I don't know. I don't know. Is that, you know, is it all of these things? But, and how much, so my question is, how much does he really need the African American vote? I mean, I would guess, yeah, get as much of that as you can. I even remember reading one of my uh, comments on one of my videos, like someone saying, yeah, Andrew Yang doesn't do anything for the African American community. Um, and to me, even though it sounded like he was trolling, there's a kernel in there that did make me think, like, what is the perception from African American leaders on Andrew Yang? Just not take him very seriously and just kind of dismiss him and go for someone like Bernie or Warren, or someone who's got very like jarring like gotcha lines that are just zingers and things like that. I mean, Andrew Yang's not really that kind of a candidate, and I don't know that you want one. We already got one, you know. Like, you need someone who's level-headed, who looks like a rock that you can't shake. Like, you can call him the worst thing in the world, and he'll just be really, like, in his typical Andrew Yang fashion, and say, well, I can certainly understand what the frustrations are, and on this matter, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, he starts with that. So so he's got this calm, and maybe that's what's unnerving about him, is that this dude is calm in the midst of all this chaos, but because he believes in solutions. Like, that's the kind of person you want. So anyway, I hope I hope things start turning around and he starts getting more support from the African American community. I think that would do him well. That's where it's at.